you played in the era where you were one of the greatest offensive tackles of your day. But you've also played in the era where you've seen the game change from straight power running to spread options, to RPOs, etc. So talk about the role of the offensive lineman that you see today and how it's viewed in this fast-paced offense.
Yeah, I can remember in 06 sitting there in the huddle like, oh, shoot, we're going to get in the shotgun next play. Like, because it's like you had a couple bad downs in a row.
Right.
You used to that quarterback being under center and running the football. We running, eye leads and freaking ISOs and counters and powers and, man. And so the game has completely changed. Yeah. And that's another part of the consistency and longevity is like, the one thing I always feel like I did really well was I was always willing to adapt and to grow. And so for me, that was, I came in the league as a 345 pound, young tackle who became probably a 350, 360 guy because I played a little bit of guard early, a little bit of left tackle, and then eventually became the starting left tackle. But I was a lot bigger. And I realized, all right, the game's changing, the rush is changing, the quarterback's sitting back there all the time. These guys are getting off the rock. They know it's pass or they know it's shotgun. So they got an opportunity to influence with just getting up the field and getting after the quarterback. And so a lot less of this dude standing right here in arm's length reach and a lot more of this guy's 2 or 3 places over there. So it's like throughout my career, I lost 3 to 4 or 5 pounds every year. And that was always a goal of mine. Like, I don't want to lose it crazy to where I lose a lot of muscle, but I'm always trying to get a little bit lighter. And, and to end my career, probably playing around 315, 313, and so it's like, I always try to adapt to how the era changed, and it did. And it's a night and day difference. When I came in the NFL, I don't care how good the player was. He was close enough that I could touch him within 2 steps. Mm-hmm. And when I left the NFL, like the 3 tech might be standing over me. And now my guy's way out over there. Like and they're twisting and stunting and flying all that. It's like people talk about O-line play and it's not as good as it used to be. Like bullshit. Like what defenses have figured out, how to pressure, how to rush, how to not just line up 4 guys standing over the top of you all the time has completely changed. Mm-hmm. It is a lot harder to pass protect now than it ever has been because of the techniques and all the things that they're doing and really the way defensive coordinators know how to stress you. And so it's yes, is there some regression in the hitting and all that stuff? So there's probably some line play. It's not as good as it's been, maybe. But there's also, we didn't face that kind of stuff when I played in the league my first 5 to 8 years in the league. Like there was none of that. And now every team has got all these simulated pressures and you don't know who's rushing, who's stunting, who's picking, who's doing any of this mess. And you're sitting back there and shotgun every single play. It's just a total different league than when I entered.
Yeah, you talked about changes because it's inevitable. Like it's going to happen. In particular, when you look at the game from like player safety. How has it changed from when you first came in up all the way up until now?
Well, one of them is I got to build the calluses of the old school way. And then the league, I've always said like it was perfect to play. I was the oldest offensive tackle in NFL history to win a Super Bowl, right? And the oldest left tackle ever, right? At 40 to start a left tackle in a football game. But part of that was the game changed for the better in that standpoint my entire career. So like when I got in, after my first 4 years, it's like you have the CBA and you change how you do camp. You change 2-a-days, you change that. And then the next CBA changes it even more and it changes how you can practice in the off season. And so it really like went hand in hand with my career of me adapting to the game, but also like, all right, the things that used to take guys out because they were physically getting beat up all the time also improved. And so it was like I was able to kind of like morph myself through the league and what it was adapting to, but in a good way because I'd already been through the tough stuff. And so everything was just getting easier and easier as I was getting older. So I've always said that was kind of something to me that it's like it played in my favor, but it's also like, wow, I mean, the game, what it's considered now to then has changed so much. Even linemen, I mean, that's one of the problems, like one of the young lineman problems to me in this, like, you're probably going to see, I think, a flip. You've seen a lot of these teams where in the preseason, they're not playing guys.
Yeah.
I think we're about to get back to they're playing all the time and they're playing lots of snaps because I think one of the things we're seeing in NFL seasons is what offensive line can stay healthy. And why is that, I think? Because you would learn a lot about not just who your best players are, but in camp, you'd learn, like, who's my lineman that, like, man, they're going to show up with, like, elbow don't even work that day, but they about to tape it up and they're going to go. Their fingers, they can't close their hand. but they're going to show up and they're going to go. Like you need to know who those guys are before you walk in a season and realize, well, shoot, we thought this guy was our starting left guard, but he's got a little bobo and now he's not playing for 2 weeks. Because you see so much of it now, like guys missing a week and missing 2 weeks and they come back and like, I couldn't even, I try to think through like, what would be the injury that I would ever miss a week or two, like on one game? Like, man, I got to be out for 6 games if I'm missing a game.
Right.
I mean, like I got to have something serious, you know? And so now you see so much of that I think there is this like callous toughness you build in camp that those guys are missing.
I'm glad they did change the rules just because of player safety and then the longevity of the game, protecting the guys, because you know more than anybody else. Like we do need somebody to protect us from us. And I understand going back to Aziz when he hit Trevor Lawrence.
Yep. And
like people was like, oh man, the league. I'm like, nah, I get it. Like I personally know him. He ain't a bad dude, bro. He ain't. I've been in that position to where if you making me run all the way over there, somebody getting cooked. Now I'm not saying it's right, but I talked to him and he was like, Spikes, you know that ain't me. And I say, I know that. This too shall pass, but you got to go ahead and just take it, move on, and just, just keep doing what you're doing. Just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on how you saw that play
there's
out.
No doubt. I agree completely. I think the unfortunate part like that, I go back to this a lot and I put it in, and it's why sometimes if I'm ever going to be critical of those type of things, I put a lot of stuff on quarterbacks. And it's not, I spent my entire career protecting them.
Yeah.
I love quarterbacks. But I also know the reality is I served in the union. I did that for years until I got out. The reality is the quarterbacks drive our league, and they're going to get paid the most money. And in my opinion, how I live my life as a captain and as a leader of football teams, that means I have the most onus on me to stand up for all the guys that I represent. Like when I was a part of the union, I didn't give a damn about what the top 20% guys make. I cared about the 53. How do we improve that? How do we do things that affect every single guy that's going to put a helmet on and strap it up? I want every single one of them to be impacted in a positive way. That's what I want to fight for. I don't want to spend time worrying about salary caps. Talk to me about player performance and like, hey, why do we spend all this time growing the salary cap? But like, how about we just pay every guy based off every snap they play? Like if you're putting a helmet on and you're running into another individual, you should make more money. Like that's it. Like it's a real simple system if we want to influence all 53. But to me, that's why I put it on the quarterbacks. And so in this situation, I think that the game has gone too far to just whatever keeps a quarterback healthy and puts everyone else at risk. And everyone else has got a harder job. And why I say that is the quarterbacks are the ones that are going to have to be vocal and go, you know what? Like we're making the game too much about me. I need to protect these other guys. Right. I need to be vocal about these other guys. Like I love that Tom Brady's saying all this stuff now about the rule. Bro, when you was playing, you was whining about penalties the whole game. Like you got tons of clips on there arguing with head refs. Like he hit me in the face. He pulled me at this. Like you were always doing that, right?
You got to milk the system,
but like
baby.
Now you talking about it. It's like, come on. So like when y'all are playing and you actually have the impact on the game, like talk about it. Like help these guys out. Like, hey, you know what? Like we shouldn't be able to slide late. Like the Patrick Mahomes play. I shouldn't be able to fake slide and take off down the sideline. Like that's BS. Like, come on, we all know that. And so I just think there's some of those things where we've continued to take rules and make playing defensive football so incredibly hard that it doesn't even make athletic sense to like just common sense of like, hey, it's like you got a dog in your house. I always tell people like, if you just walk in my front door and my dog runs after you, like you're the problem, not my dog. Like you don't just walk in somebody's front door, right? That's the truth. And when you're playing defensive football, like, you want to come run at me and fake like you're going to slide and I light you up and because you do slide, like that's your fault. Like you're the problem, right? Yeah. So that's the way I relate it. It's like there's common sense things that we don't have to have all these conversations. It's common sense. Like if you're a quarterback, get your butt down and stop trying to get extra yards.
Get your ass down.
That's it.
Yeah.
Get low.
It's real simple.